Welcome to Asian Pacific American Heritage Month in 2025. My name is Stephen Lee, and in this video, I want to provide an overview of how Asian Americans in the United States have been shaped by laws and court decisions. Our story begins in 1790, when Congress passed a law allowing immigrants to become citizens only if they were a free white person. As a result, courts in the late 1800s and early 1900s had to wrestle with what white meant under the law when immigrants from Asia sought citizenship. One of those people was Hong Yan Chang, who came to the United States for his education and then tried to become a lawyer. At the time, only citizens of the United States could become lawyers, so Hong Yan Chang tried to become a U.S. citizen. A sympathetic judge in New York read the 1790 law very narrowly and apparently found that white simply meant not black, and so Hong Yan Chang became a U.S. citizen and then a lawyer in New York. He then decided to move to California and try to join the bar there. Unfortunately, the California Supreme Court rejected his application, finding that he could not have become a U.S. citizen because he was not white, and thus he could not become a lawyer in California. The California Supreme Court's decision was in line with other courts, which found that the term white meant Caucasian. The naturalist J.F. Blumenbach had classified 5 races: African, Malay, American, Mongolian, and Caucasian. He used the term Caucasian because he believed that the Mount Caucasus region produced the most beautiful race of men, and because he believed that humanity probably arose there. Some judges continued to allow some Chinese people to become citizens, so Congress explicitly banned the naturalization of Chinese people in 1882. The population of Chinese Americans started to go down over the following decades. But as people from other Asian countries came to the United States, some wanted to become citizens and challenged the 1790 law. One of those people was Takao Ozawa, who wrote his own briefs in support of his argument that he was not white under the law and that he was a true American at heart. Another was Bhagat Singh Thind, who served in the United States Army before trying to become a citizen. He was initially denied citizenship because he was not white, and then he was admitted to citizenship because courts found that high caste Hindus were members of the Aryan branch of the Caucasian race and thus were white for purposes of the law. Ozawa's case and Thind's case ultimately went to the United States Supreme Court in the 1920s, and the Supreme Court ruled that both men were not white under the law. Ozawa never became a citizen. Thind lost his citizenship, but was able to become a citizen again in the 1930s because of a new law allowing veterans to naturalize. 2 things happened that really led to where Asian Americans are today. First, after the Civil War, the 14th Amendment made major changes to the Constitution, including stating that all persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. Some of this citizenship clause was clear, but some people believed that the children of Chinese immigrants were not citizens because they owed allegiance to the Chinese emperor and were not subject to the jurisdiction thereof under the law. As a result, federal authorities arrested a man named Wong Kim Ark when he returned to San Francisco after visiting family in China. He had been born in the United States, but federal authorities argued that he was not a U.S. citizen because his parents still owed allegiance to the Chinese emperor. In an 1898 case, the United Supreme Court rejected this argument, finding that Wong Kim Ark was a U.S. citizen based on his birth, and that the jurisdiction clause was meant to exclude only people such as the children of foreign diplomats. The other big change was that the United States gradually eliminated racial restrictions in naturalization law after World War II, and then changed immigration law in the 1960s. These changes made it possible for many more people to come from Asia to the United States, especially because of family connections. But for those legislative changes, the Asian American population today would likely be much less than it actually is. I hope you found this useful. If you want to read more articles about Asian American legal history, you can check out my articles at rapaheritage.substack.com or stephenleelaw.com. Thanks for listening. Hope you found this useful.